I've spent about a good 12 hours today playing Persona 5, so now it's time to record this video. Hello and welcome everyone to today's video. It is going to be the G-BT10 set breakdown. So we have quite a few clans in this set. The amount of cards that they got is not, too balanced. Some clans got a couple dozen cards and some got a good, handful. So we're going to go over everything as we usually do, and it's going to be in the order of essentially my least hyped clan to the most hyped clan, and I think most people that have been watching my channel for some time will already know which order we're going to be going in. So, before we do, however, let us go with the Cray Elemental in this set, which is Mr. Bobo. So, Bobo's skill is, first of all, it is in all clans and nations as all Cray Elementals, but on GB1, when you call it from hand, if the number of cards in your damage zone is 3 or less, you countercharge 1, soul charge 1, and choose one of your Vanguards and deal 1 damage. This could be okay in like Angel Feather or something, or like, if this came out during Limit Break era without the GB1, it would have been really, really good. Well, not really, really good, but it would have been like alright, I suppose. But, there is a Bermuda combo with this where you can just kill yourself from 0 to 6, so you can try that if you want, but overall the card isn't all that great, so it's a bit unfortunate, but nevertheless it is a pretty interesting Cray Elemental, so it's always welcome to the list. So we're going to be beginning with Neo Nectar. Most of the cards are just, it's only like 6 cards or something, but most of them are just kind of okay. But the first card, which is definitely quite good, is the triple rare that Neo Nectar got, which is Governing Flower Princess Selfina. So she's quite adept at taking selfies if her name even says that. So her skill is an act once per turn on Vanguard Circle. You can pass 1 and choose a face down G unit and turn it face up. You choose the same number of your rear guards as the number of face up cards in your G zone, and until end of turn they get plus 2k each. You search your deck for up to the same number of cards with the same card name as those units as the number of face up Selfinas in your G zone. Call them to separate rearguard circles, shuffle your deck, and if you call 2 or more cards, she also gets a critical. So overall solid. The crit is a nice addition. Not a lot of Neo Nectar things have had it so far, well, in terms of strides. And then, it gives a little power buff. It does give you the searching. It's worded in a pretty confusing way, but as I understand it, you choose the rearguards, and then for as many face-up units as you have as the ones that you chose, you copy them, and then if you copy 2, then you get the crit. So it's not as difficult as it sounds. A lot of Neo Nectar's skills are worded in a really difficult to understand way, but in the end they turn out to be not that hard to understand. So like this strike's pretty good. I've seen a lot of people already adapting her, so I don't play Neo Nectar myself, but she does seem pretty solid. Next up we have Sacred Tree Dragon Resonate Dragon. Has 1 skill, Bloom. When your other unit with the same card name as this unit is placed on rearguard circle, that unit and this unit get plus 8k until end of turn. So this kind of capitalizes off a lot of cards that just copy the name of your Vanguard, and there's been quite a lot of those recently, so I guess it's just for that. So it's more of a budget Bloom card, I would say, rather than one that you would see in a, proper competitive build. Next up we have Charming Maiden Nicola. She has Bloom on rearguard circle and Guardian circle. GB1, when your other unit with the same card name as this unit is placed on rearguard circle or Guardian circle, choose up to 2 Nicolas on your rearguard circle or Guardian circle, and they get plus 4k power and plus 5k shield until end of turn. I wanted to mention this one just because it's cool that it also adds shield. I think this is the first time that Bloom worked off shield power, so overall it's always been just, attack power, so it's overall pretty interesting card, but I'm not sure how much play it would actually see. Next we have Assistant Maiden Lucie. When an attack hits a Vanguard during the battle of this unit boosted on GB1, you can Soul Blast 1 and retire her. If you do, you choose one of your units, search your deck for up to 1 card with the same card name as that unit, cold to rearguard circle, and shuffle your deck. If the cold unit has the Bloom ability, that cold unit gets plus 4k until end of turn. Again, I want to talk about this one just because it's a mid-battle phase call, so it's kind of rare to see these in Neo Nectar, because usually just like, here's 3 big attacks and that's it. While with this you finally get something in mid-battle, but I still don't think she's going to be that used. Although I don't really know, like I genuinely can't give too many opinions on Neo Nectar just because I don't want to say the wrong thing when I don't play the clan. Next we have Maiden of Cucumber. I only really wanted to bring this card up because of her name. The art doesn't help the suggestiveness either. But, her skill is a rearguard circle. When your grade 1 or greater unit with the Bloom abilities placed on a Vanguard or a rearguard circle, you may counterblast 1. If you do, you choose a card from your drop zone with the same card name as that unit that was placed. You can put it on the bottom of your deck, and if you do, this unit gets plus 3k until end of turn. Kind of a weird, you know, kind of must want to bot deck something and get plus 2k, so overall it's not that good, but, you know, name and art's definitely worth mentioning. And finally we have Ringer Paprika. So this one, again, the skill isn't too great, it's just put into the soul and give one of your units boost until end of turn. But there is a typo, it's they put a full stop a bit too early. But, you know, the art and name and everything of this card is just amazing, so it's definitely worth mentioning. And that's actually the end of the Neo Nectar cards. Next up we have Murakumo. Now we have quite a lot of archetypes for Murakumo in all of their support, so we're going to split it up in terms of the archetypes themselves. So we're going to be beginning with a triple rare of this set and the one that starts off our first archetype, which is Yasuye or Shadow Stitch. So first off we have Rogue Deity of the third realm, Yasuye Goma. His skill is, well, the first one is act on Vanguard Circle once per turn. You choose a face down Yasuye Goma from your G-Zone and turn it face up. You choose up to 2 face-up cards with Yasuye in their card names from your G-Zone and call them to separate rearguard circles. This is the first time that we have, I'm pretty sure this is the first time that we have a card that calls something from the G-Zone. Pretty insane, very cool, but it's not as shocking as you might think because in the end, you know, strides are just 15k base. It's cool to have 15k base attackers, but if you don't pump them up, that's about all they're going to be doing. They don't have any other special skills or anything, you know, on the rearguard circle, so a bit sad. It would have been nice if they got another skill on top of that, but it's pretty original, so it's cool for that. And there are some, you know, rulings that popped up, so, you know, if you do Denial Griffin a Yasuye Goma, it does just go back to the G-Zone, it doesn't get retired. There's also the little, you know, bracket saying that it still goes back to the G-Zone even if anything happens to it, it just goes back to the G-Zone. So, second skill is a Shadow Stitch. On Vanguard Circle, at the end of the battle, your unit attacked the Vanguard. If that attack did not hit, you draw a card and choose a card from your hand and put it on the bottom of your deck. Pretty nice that you put it on the bottom of your deck, that way you're literally just filtering back to the deck. You're not actually discarding it and then losing out on the amount of cards in your deck, so it's pretty nice that they did this instead of making you discard. So it's not a +1, but it's a little bit of a filter. So overall the card's pretty solid, but it would have been nice if, like, it's cool that they call from G-Zone, but in the end it's just a 15k base. Next up we have the new Grade 3 Yasuye, which is Stealth Rogue of the Trial Yasuye. So, first skill is Shadow Stitch on Vanguard and Rearguard Circle. At the end of the battle, if this unit attacked a Vanguard, if the attack didn't hit, you draw a card, choose a card from your hand, and put it on the bottom of your deck. Pretty much the same thing as the second skill of Yasuye Goma, but it also works on Rearguard Circle, which is pretty nice. Second skill is when you stride on top of him, you can counterblast 1. If you do, you choose one of your units, search your deck for up to 1 card with the same card name as that unit, call to Rearguard Circle, shuffle your deck, and until end of turn, the called unit gets Shadow Stitch. At the end of the battle, if this unit attacked a Vanguard, if the attack didn't hit, you return it to your hand. Pretty nice because, you know, instead of having to put it back to the deck, you just kind of put it to your hand and then you can use it for, you know, defending or making other combos next turn. I really like his art. It's kind of like, it feels like the arrow from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure kind of being pointed at you. So pretty nice touch. The card is actually quite solid as well. Now we can have full Yasuye Grade 3s and the card is solid. So overall a nice one, surprised that it's just a double rare. And the next Yasuye double rare is a Stealth Rogue of Envy Ikkyu. So, Shadow Stitch, GB1 on Rearguard Circle. At the end of the battle, this unit attacked the Vanguard. If the attack didn't hit, you choose one of your units and it gets +2k until end of turn, and the skill continuous. On Rearguard Circle, this unit can attack from the back row. Pretty good. Just the first skill is pretty good. His other skill is when you call it until end of turn, he gets +2k for each of your units with Yasuye in his card name, so you can buff it up quite a bit as well. But it's nice that, like, if it doesn't hit, then it passes on the power to something else and lets it attack from back row. So, you know, even if you give it to 7k, it's going to become, you know, a 9k attacker from the back row. So, pretty cool, pretty cool. I actually really like this Grade 2, I think it's quite solid. So, there's that. Next up, we have Pressured Stealth Rogue Sarashina Hime. First skill is a Shadow Stitch. At the end of the battle, that this unit attacked the Vanguard and was boosted. If the attack didn't hit, you soul charge 1. I'm not too sure how much soul Yasuye uses up. I haven't played against the deck in a long time. Interesting, but also she's an 8k base, so I'm not sure if she's gonna be that useful. But her second skill is when you call her on GB1, you choose one of your other standing units, and you may have it gain -5k until end of turn. If you do, she gets +5k until end of turn. Like, you know, 13k attacker, but if she goes 9k, she would maybe even be used. Right now, I'm not too sure. Next up, we have the Shadow Stitch well, quintet wall essentially. When you guard with it, you can counterblast 1 Soul Blast 1. If you do, call the top 5 cards of your deck to Guardian Circle, and if you call the unit with a Shadow Stitch ability, this unit gets plus 5k until end of that battle. You know, nice, it gets some power on its own. And the second skill is Continuous Guardian Circle. All of your other grade 3 or less Guardians get, when this unit is retired from Guardian Circle, you may put this card in the bottom of your deck. Cool, because again, it prevents the decking out and you losing your combo pieces, so it just sends everything back to the bottom of the deck. So it's actually a pretty good quintet wall. Like overall, quite solid, I actually like it. Art's good as well, so actually quite nice. And that's going to be the end of the Yasuye exclusive support. Next up we have Hyaki, so another archetype that got support in this set, so it's going to be the only other Murakumo archetype we're going to talk about, and then we're going to go into just the generic Murakumo cards that work in everything, well, more or less everything, they don't restrict themselves to any archetype. So the first one of which is going to be Ambush Demon Stealth Dragon Hyaki Zora Asogi. So his skill is act once per turn GB2, Counterblast 1 and Soul Blast 1 and choose a card from your hand and discard it. Search your deck for up to 5 cards with Hyaki in their card names, call them to separate rearguard circles, shuffle your deck, and until end of turn, they get continuous rearguard circle GB3. This unit can attack from the back row, and at the end of that turn, put those units on the bottom of your deck in any order. With one of the new grade 3s in this set, this stride is actually quite cool. So you basically just pump out a full field of Hyakis, a full field of 11k attackers that can attack from the back row, and then, you know, you just go ham on your opponent. That's pretty cool. You basically get 6 attacks, and then if you get stands, you get even more. But, you know, they're all going to be 11k pretty much, because this card doesn't give them any extra power, so it's a little bit sad. But let's keep on going and see what other cards Hyaki got. So next one is Covert Demonic Dragon Hyaki Zora. So his first skill, which is very important, is both in rearguard circle and in the deck. This card is also regarded as Covert Demonic Dragon Hyaki Vogue Reverse. So very, very important skill, makes this go really well with the stride, so pretty cool. Other skill is when you ride it, you can Soul Blast 2. If you do, you search your deck for up to 1 Covert Demonic Dragon Hyaki Vogue Reverse, ride it as stand and shuffle your deck. If you rode, you countercharge 1. It's okay, like, you don't really want to stay on him, but he does have the Hyaki name, so it's kind of okay. But you do want the reverse for his limit break stuff as well, so, you know, it's understandable why you would want to do that. Next is a grade 2, Stealth Dragon Katon Slayer. First skill is when he attacks a Vanguard, if you have a Vanguard with Hyaki in his card name, this unit gets plus 2k until end of that battle. Second skill is when your unit with Hyaki in his card name is placed on the same row as this unit, you can put him into your soul and choose a card from your drop zone and put it in the bottom of your deck. If you do, you countercharge 1. Pretty cool because you can return any Hyakis that you still want to be in the deck, basically, that have died or anything. So it's quite nice. This card is actually quite solid, and you know, it's an 11k Hyaki attacker, so pretty good for this deck. Next is a grade 1 Stealth Dragon Senryo Raid. He has a auto skill. At the end of your turn, if you have a Vanguard with Hyaki in his card name, you can rest him. If you do, draw a card and retire him. His second skill is an act, Soul Blast 1 and rest him. Choose one of your grade 3 or greater units. I think it's plus 5k until end of turn. That second part I'm not sure how much you'd use, but the first one is actually kind of okay because it's at the end of turn. But then that means that you wouldn't have boosted with him. So it's, I don't know, it's kind of a half-half, a bit of a interesting card. Not sure how much this would be used. Next is the Hyaki starter, Stealth Dragon Hitodama Handler. Skill is on rearguard circle. When your Vanguard attacks, you can choose this unit and a Hyaki Vogue Reverse on your rearguard circles and put them into your soul. If you do, search your deck for up to 1 Hyaki Vogue Reverse, call it to rearguard circle, shuffle your deck, and it gets plus 5k until end of turn. And at the end of that turn, put that unit on the bottom of your deck. In Hyaki, it's nice that they go back to the bottom of the deck because, you know, you need to keep pumping them out with a stride, and then this guy is also pumping them out from the deck, so like they always just keep coming back, and also with Reverse's own skill as well. So pretty interesting decision to support Hyaki, but it is a very nice archetype for Murakumo, but there are still some others that I wish got support as well. And now to finish off the Murakumo stuff, let's go over the generic cards that don't really restrict themselves to any archetype. The first one of which is Stealth Dragon Fudo Blast. So he's a grade 2 with 11k power. Skill is, first of all, Vanguard and rearguard circle continuous. If you do not have any other units with the same card name as this unit cannot attack a Vanguard. But to fix that problem, he has an act once per turn, not on GB1, counterblast 1 and discard a card, search your deck for up to 1 Fudo Blast, call it to rearguard circle, shuffle your deck, and at the end of that turn, put the unit on the bottom of your deck. So for counterblast 1 and his discard, you can copy him, but he does go back to the bottom of the deck. But for early game, this can prove to be pretty interesting because, you know, you can use his skill. What's a bit sad is that, you know, that second skill is only on Vanguard Circle. If it was Vanguard and Rearguard Circle, then you can use like Vanguard calls a Rearguard, and then Rearguard use another one to call it, and then you have 3 11k attackers on turn 2. It's pretty cool. Interesting, but not sure how much this would be used. Next, we have Stealth Rogue of Nirvana Yaegaki. Her skill is an act once per turn, Canon Blast 1, Soul Blast 1, choose one of your other units in the same column as this unit, search your deck for up to 1 card with the same card name as that unit, call it to Rearguard Circle, and shuffle your deck. At the end of that turn, put the unit called with this effect and this unit on the bottom of your deck in any order. So, kinda cool, you know, gets you another attacker, and it's a once per turn. Well, it's like it's an act, which is kind of nice. It's not on call or anything, but you have to put that unit back and also this one. So that's the part that I don't like too much, that she goes back as well. Would have been nice if she actually stayed. Next we have Stealth Fiend Watayuki. Her skill is a continuous on Rearguard Circle GB1. All of your other rearguards in the same column as this unit get the continuous skill. This unit cannot be put into your deck by card effects. So if you don't want your units to go back to deck and you want to keep them around for next turn and for intercepts and whatnot, then you could use her, but sometimes it's nice that you do have the empty fields, but this can come in handy against stuff like Diablo. Next we have a pretty simple card, Stealth Fiend Umbredanuki. Umbredanuki? Not sure. But when you call it, you Soul Blast 2 if you do draw a card. So we've seen a lot of these cards before, it's nothing too new. Final card is a reprint of Stealth Fiend Dart Spider. If you don't know what he does, you can put him into your soul to countercharge 1. So it's nice that they reprinted this because it is an important stand for Murakumo. Not sure how much is used anymore, but this new art is definitely nicer than the old one. And that marks the end of the Murakumo support. Next up, we'll be taking a look at the money clan of this set, which is Gold Paladin. Not so surprised that it's the money clan, considering, you know, bling bling golds, but there are some interesting cards this time around, and, you know, I have a little bit of storytelling to do as well. So, the first card of which is a reprint, which is that of Wolffang Liberator Garmor. So we're not going to go over his skill because he is a reprint, but it does feel nice to have this guy reprinted. Garmor is like, I have a bit of attachment with it because I didn't play it back when... Like, I didn't play Garmor back in, like, the original BTO4, but I did, you know, play him with a gold trial deck. Like, that was kind of when I was getting more established in the game, and I wasn't just playing with trial decks, but, like, I had to play with a Garmor trial deck for a while, and then, you know, Spectral Duke came along, so it's quite nice to see this guy come back, and people did try to make him, you know, more playable in Japan, thanks to the next card that we're going to talk about, which is the Garmor Stride. So, the Stride is Golden Knight of Gleaming Fang, Garmor. So, let's talk about this guy's skills. Quite some interesting things. First of all, while he is a Gold Paladin, his last skill is a continuous, this card is also a Royal Paladin. This is one of the first and maybe only times that we have a card of 2 clans, and it would be quite interesting to see them keep on doing it. However, his first skill is an act on Vanguard Circle once per turn, GB2. Choose a card from your drop zone and put it in the bottom of your deck. You reveal 6 cards from the top of your deck. Choose the same number of units as the number of high beasts revealed. Until end of turn, they get plus 4k, and if 4 or more cards were chosen, this unit gets a critical. Shuffle your deck. So, you reveal top 6, and for as many high beasts as there are, you get that many units plus 4k. So it's kind of like, in another way, well, at least in the eyes of some people, a Sanctuary Guard Stride, but you know, it depends on high beasts, but it is possible to build this in a pretty efficient way, and then, you know, the crit is definitely a nice touch, because then you're going to be having a lot of pressure on early turns, so really interesting cards. But let's go over his second skill first, before we finish up. Act on Vanguard Circle, Count Blast 1, Soul Blast 1. If you have a hard card with Garmor in its name, look at 3 cards from the top of your deck, call a card among them to Rearguard Circle, and shuffle your deck. So, God, I really like this Garmor Stride. Like, it's also a very cheap Gold Paladin deck to build if you want to. You know, it's also very fast, so you're supposed to be winning by, you know, early strides, and, you know, you don't have to have that full G-Zone if you're really playing budget. So, pretty interesting deck. I haven't been playing around with it myself, but I do have Japanese friends that were playing around with it a lot more when it came out. Not so much now anymore, but still very interesting card, so I do like it for that. Before we move on to the Unite stuff, let's go over the 2 other cards that do help out this Garmor deck. First one is Cheskull Liberator. So his skill is a GB1. When this unit is retired from Guardian Circle, if cards were not put into your damage zone this turn, you can Soul Blast 1 to draw a card. Pretty good. It's only 6k, but it's nice that there's this like Guardian Circle interaction. So there's this one high beast for your Garmor deck. Another one is Burnegal Liberator. Has a rearguard circle skill. When your unit is placed on rearguard circle from your deck, you can counterblast 1 soul blast 1. If you do until end of turn, that unit gets boost. This isn't a once per turn skill, but you know, you don't want to be eating up too much counterblast. So these two cards aren't all that great, but they do directly help the Garmor's deck essentially. So I just wanted to point those two out. And now let's get over to the wallet crusher of this set, which is the two Gurgits, or Gurguinto, as they would be pronounced in Japanese. First off, we have the Stride, which is Holy Sword of Heavenly Law Gurguit. Skill is an act on Vanguard Circle once per turn. Counterblast 1 and Persona Flip, and then choose a card from your hand and discard it. Until end of turn, this unit gets the auto skill, Unite. When this unit attacks, look at 7 cards from the top of your deck, call a card from among them to rearguard circle, and shuffle your deck. And, continuous, Vanguard Circle, all of your units get plus 2k for each face-up card with Gurguit in its card name in your G-Zone. That second part is quite nice because you do have this Gurguit Stride and the old GR from G-BT10 to add up to this power bonus, but the card is quite solid, but I still don't really understand why it is so expensive. Like, I kind of understand because the start decks were so cheap and everybody bought into them and they were like, whoa, a budget clan for me to play, nice, nice, nice. And then G-BT10 wasn't that expensive, so they bought that, and now it's like, you want to update your deck? How about these two expensive ass cards? So, this card's overall okay. The power buff is definitely a very nice addition. You know, a bit, you know, it's good. It's good, but it's not super overwhelmingly amazing, wow, wow, wow. You know, you still have to discard a card for your call, and I'm surprised it only calls 1 card from the top 7. Would have been nice if it called 2, so kind of strange that he's that expensive, but it does make sense when you look at it from a different light. Next up, we have Golden Holy Sword Gurguit. So this is the new grade 3. I really like his art. The little bird on his shoulder is really cool, so art-wise definitely amazing. Both of them are also just really good looking art-wise. His first skill to continue is GB2 Unite. All of your rearguards get intercept and the continuous skill. During the battle that your Vanguard was attacked, this unit can intercept from the back row. So basically, if you call out everything, you can just intercept with everything. It's a nice addition. It is GB2 and is on Unite, so you still have to guard with 2 things before you can do this part of the skill. But it's interesting that he gives this intercept skill. I still think the old Gurguit's GB2 was better with, you know, just calling out guardians from the top of your deck, because if you sack that perfect guard, it's pretty cool. But you know, it's okay. Let's look at the second skill as well. When you stride on top of him, you can counterblast 1 and soul blast 1. If you do, you look at the top 4 cards of your deck, call a card from among them to rearguard circle, shuffle your deck, and if you call the unit with a Unite ability, you look at the top card of your deck and call it to rearguard circle as rest. So in the anime, you know, Taiyo showed off how he always top decks Flame of Victory and then slides it in the soul for that, you know, for that rest to go away, and it's like, whoa, top tier plays, dude, Taiyo, you're so good, wow, thanks for making this a $30 card. But I don't know, I still think the old Gurguit is stronger, because like this, it also soul blasts 1, and you still only, well, you called 2 cards this time around, but one of them is in rest. And you know, there's only so many units that are going to be able to immediately make an advantage of that. You know, it goes well together with his GB2. So like, you call 2 cards, but you know, you get to intercept with both of them. If you call a grade 0, it's a 10k shield that you didn't lose out on, kind of thing. Kind of interesting, but still confused why it's, you know, it just, when you compare to how good it is, you're a bit surprised why it's so expensive, but then you look at it in that other light, as I keep saying, and you kind of understand. But oh well, interesting card. But let's go over the rest of the Unite support. Next up, we have Knight of Daylight Kinarius. First skill is a continuous on rearguard circle Unite. If you have a Vanguard with Gurguit in its card name, this unit gets plus 4k. Don't forget that this also works on your opponent's turn. Second skill is a GB1. When you call it, from wherever actually, you can discard a card from your hand. If you do, you look at the top 3 cards of your deck, call a card from among them to rearguard circle, and put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. Pretty cool, doesn't cost counterblast, so it doesn't just eat up all your counterblast, but you do have to discard, so not sure how happy Unite players are about that, but I think the card's on paper pretty solid, but we'll see how well it does, you know, in play. Next up, we have the Unite Perfect Guard. So this one is restricted to Vanguard, so you know, we were thinking they would move away from the Vanguard restriction on perfect guards, but not with this one. But her Unite skill is, when you guard with her, you can choose one of your rear guards and put it on the bottom of your deck. If you do, she gets plus 15k shield until the end of that battle. So it's cool because, I mean, it's good against Tachikaze because, like, you know, but no, in the end it's not. Oh, so strange. It's such a, like, I'm trying to see what's good about this, because like if you're gonna perfect guard, then you're gonna perfect guard. You can drop this without, you know, discarding for perfect guard if you're really out of cards in hand. You know, just have a 15k shield and then you trade away a card on the field. But I don't know. She looks cute, but I'm not sure just how useful she actually is. Next up, we have Golden Dragon Build Peak Dragon. When this unit is put into your G-Zone from Vanguard Circle, so at the end of the turn basically, you countercharge 1 and soul charge 1, so kinda cool. Second skill is a continuous, this unit gets plus 3k for each of your rear guards. Very simple, but pretty okay actually, you know, he can get a pretty solid power gain from this skill. So for budget players, you know, if you want to do a direct update from the start deck without, you know, shelling out 150 bucks, then, or even more actually, then, you know, you could always pick this guy up. Next up, we have Teaching Knight Hudon. His skill is a Vanguard and Rearguard Circle skill, GB1 Unite. When this unit's attack hits a Vanguard, you can count +1. If you do, you look at 4 cards from the top of your deck, call a card from among them to Rearguard Circle, shuffle your deck, and that unit gets plus 3k until end of turn. Attack pressure, but again, this is more for the budget players because all your grade 3s will probably just be Gurgwits at this stage, so more for the budget players, not so much for the ones that are trying to compete at a top tier meta. Next up is Holy Mage Rossa. Act GB1 Unite, count +1, choose one of your other units, that unit and this unit get plus 2k until end of turn. It's not once per turn, but I don't think you'd actually use her, but I just, again, it's more for the budget players, but I have to admit I just included her because she's cute. Oops. Next up we have Holy Mage Marlene. She's an 8k power, but this is one of those cards that we keep seeing. So on Rearguard Circle and Guardian Circle, GB1 Unite, this unit gets plus 2k and plus 5k shield. So on Unite, on both turns, she's a 10k vanilla. Well, not vanilla, but a 10k power. And with that, we're actually done with the gold Paladin support. And now we have the next big batch of lots of cards and lots of archetypes supported in Tachikaze support. This time around I'll go through the generic cards first before we go into the archetypes. I feel bad for not doing that last time. But so the first card is going to be Cliff Authority Returner Blockade Ganga. So this is the new G-Guardian for Tachikaze. When you guard with it, you may retire one of your rear guards. If you do, this unit gets plus 10k until that battle. Then you choose up to 2 of your rear guards, and until end of turn they get the skill. When this unit is retired, return this card to your hand. Pretty nice. You don't lose out on things that are retired for engorges and whatnot, and for your opponent doing random retiring as well, depending on your matchup. So pretty cool card. Overall, just a good G-Guardian, honestly. It's only a 25k shield. Would have been nice if it also gained another plus 5k shield in some way, so it would kind of match up to the other new G-Guards that we've been getting. But overall, it's solid, so a good G-Guard. Next, there's a lot of these Savage cards, but I'm just gonna, like, they don't restrict themselves to the Savage name, so I'm just gonna put them as generic. First off, we have Savage Sorcerer. Her skill is she's a grade 3, by the way. At the beginning of your ride phase, you can retire her. If you do until the end of turn, you may stride without paying the cost the next time you stride. You know, there's been so many grade 1s that do this. Why did this have to be a grade 3? You know, kind of strange. You could just keep her in hand and use her to stride, but I guess this is like, oh, you can attack with her and then stride. But, you know, people are just gonna kill her off before you can do that. So, pretty sad, but whatever. That's how the cookie crumbles. Next, we have Savage Mystique. She has a Rearguard Circle skill once per turn, GB1. When your other Rearguard is retired for the effect or cost of your card, you may bind that card face up. This works with Rex, essentially, so kind of cool. Next is her GB1. At the beginning of the guard step of the battle that your Vanguard was attacked, you may put this unit into your soul. If you do, you choose a card from your bind zone and call it to Guardian Circle. So that kind of works together with her first skill, but, you know, just, I guess you can work with Rex, but I'm not sure how much that second skill is going to help out Rex. Next we have Savage Lancer. When it's called, you can Soul Blast 2 to draw a card. So now Tachikaze has this card as well. And the final card for generics is Ancient Dragon Dinodial, which is just a reprint. So you put into your soul to countercharge 1. This is a good crit. It's a crit that countercharges, so definitely a good reprint, one that was definitely needed. And now at long last, let's take a look at the archetypes. We're going to be starting off with the one that people are most hyped for, which is Gaia, aka Engorge. The first one of which is Great Emperor Dragon Gaia Dynast. Has Engorged and has a GB3. When your rearguard is retired by this unit, you may counterblast 1. If you do, call that card to rearguard circle, that unit and this unit get +3k until end of turn. Cool, it's not limited to, once per turn, so you can do it several times. Gives power buff to himself and the unit, and also just returns your attackers, so it's cool because you can just keep on attacking. Second skill, however, is when this unit becomes engorged, you may persona flip. If you do, choose one of your rearguards, retire all rearguards in the same column as that unit, and countercharge 1. This is best done if you have just one rearguard in a column, then you just nuke your opponent's column, which is pretty cool, gives you some nice control for the Gaia deck. So this is good against some clans, it's good against DP, good against Novas, good against Aquaforce, anything that really depends on combos and field and stuff like that. So pretty solid strat, very solid strat actually. So it's nice that Gaia got the second one. The next Gaia card is Frenzy Emperor Dragon Gaia Desperado. So, has Engorged and has a Vanguard and Rearguard Circle GB2 continuous. If this unit is Engorged, this unit gets +5k, and if it's a Vanguard, it also gets a crit. So, only gets the crit on Vanguard, but it's nice that it gets the +5k just off a simple Engorge. Second skill is when you stride on top of it, you choose one of your Vanguards with the Engorge ability, so it is restricted, and until end of turn it gets the skill. When this unit becomes Engorged, you may counterblast 1. If you do, draw a card. So, another extra draw, but it's another extra counterblast, but with the countercharge of Gaia Dynast, it's pretty nice, so it should be quite manageable. Next is a very interesting card, which is Conflagration Dragon Gigant Flame. So, this is a Gaia card, it does have Engorge, and continuous Vanguard and Rearguard Circle. If you do not have any other Vanguards with Gaia in their card names or Engorge units, this unit cannot attack a Vanguard. So, if you call it on turn 2, you're gonna have to Engorge something for attack a Vanguard, otherwise you're just gonna bully Rearguards. But his last skill is a GB1. This unit gets +5k for each of your other engorged units. So it's not with engorged, but engorged units. So, pay attention to the text. But overall, pretty nice card. It's 11k grade 2, I'm definitely behind that. But it's obviously more effective on, not turn 2. Basically, after you've ridden into grade 3, just cool, 11k sitting there. So, cool card, definitely pretty nice to see. And now the next one that we have, which caused some discussion, is Rusher Erasmo. So he has Engorged and he has a skill that when this unit is Engorged and retired from Rearguard Circle, you may Soul Blast 1. If you do, call this card to an open Rearguard Circle. And then on continuous Rearguard Circle GB1, this unit gets boost. So it's a grade 2 with 7k power, but we do have another card that interacts with this, which is an old BTO3 grade 2, which is Vacuum Mammoth. When another of your Tachikaze is placed on Rearguard Circle, you may Soul Charge 1. So, what this means is that you can call a few of these, and then just keep on engorging each other, and they keep on Soul Blasting, but each time one of them is called, Vacuum Mammoth does Soul Charge 1. So you can do, 30, 40 attacks or something like that. So, because you just keep on soul charging until you deck out, but there's so many attacks you're doing that it's pretty insane. But, unfortunately, the moment your opponent gets that damage trigger, you won't be doing as much, it won't be as effective because there's no power gain going anywhere. It's just a lot of attacks, but very interesting combo. Some people have tried it, but it's not very effective, but it's still pretty cool to see. Next is Full Fire Elk. When this unit is retired from Rearguard Circle, you choose one of your units with the Engorge ability, and if that unit is not engorged, you may give it Engorge until end of turn, or have it become engorged. Cool card that just gives you Engorge without having, if you use an Engorge unit to retire him, then you can give another unit that did not use that Engorge to just make him be engorged so he can use his skills. So, bit of a mouthful, but interesting card. Not sure how much it's going to be used because of the 6k power, but definitely interesting. Final Gaia card is Louder Ammonite. GB1, when a unit is retired from Rearguard Circle for the effect or cost of your card, you can counterblast 1. If you do, return this card to your hand, and if that unit was retired to the effect of Engorge, you countercharge 1. So, in the end, the counterblast does get balanced out, and it goes back to your hand. So, interesting stand. Not sure how much it's going to be used, just because it's not as solid as, some of the, basically the other, I'm not sure if it's Engorge, but it's the other Tachikaze G stand. So, we'll see about that, but it is a pretty interesting card. And now for all the other archetypes, well, we have two more. We have Ancient Dragons and Rex, so we'll be starting off with Ancient Dragons. First one of which is Super Ancient Dragon Burn Gedeon. Act, once per turn, counterblast 1, choose one of your rearguards with Ancient Dragon in its card name, and until end of turn it gets the auto. When this unit is retired from rearguard circle, you can return it to your hand. Would have been really cool if it would have, returned to the field for an extra attack, but it is pretty nice. Second skill is you choose one of your rearguards with the Ancient Dragon name and retire it. When this unit attacks, you may pay the cost. If you do, this unit gets plus 10k until end of turn. Sadly, it's not that great, just a power addition, no crits or anything, just that, really. But the first skill is kind of okay, but that's about it. Kind of sad, but it's okay. Next up is Ancient Dragon Hileon Pike. When this unit is retired from your rearguard circle, if you have a Vanguard with Ancient Dragon in its card name, you can Soul Blast an Ancient Dragon. If you do, call this card to rearguard circle and it gets plus 5k until end of turn. Now this is a pretty good Ancient Dragon card because it gives you an extra attack and it's immediately on 14k as well. It also uses up Soul. I don't think there's a lot of things in Ancient Dragons that use up Soul, so overall a very nice card. It's GB1. If it wasn't GB1 it would be very, very good, but for now it's just alright. And the final Ancient Dragon card is the starter, which is Ptera Kid. When this unit is retired from rearguard circle for the effect or cost of your card with the Ancient Dragon in its card name, during your turn, you may counterblast 1. If you do, look at 3 cards from the top of your deck, search for up to 1 with Ancient Dragon in its name, call to an open rearguard circle, and put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. It's nice that it's not restricted to GB1, so it's good for some early game shenanigans, but I'm not sure if this would be used. It's kind of cool that it gives you the extra attack, but it is top 3, so it's kind of being Shadow Paladin in a way. But Tachikaze was always competing for that spot. But it's actually okay. I think this Stride is kind of the worst of all the Ancient Dragon cards, kind of. But it's okay. And the final archetype for Tachikaze that needs to be looked at is Rex. So here we have Destruction Tyrant Full Blade Rex, which is the Stride. Has the skill that at the end of the battle that you attack the Vanguard, if your heart is a Rex, you can Soul Blast 1 and retire one of your rearguards. If you do, choose a card from your bind zone, call it to rearguard circle, and that unit gets plus 4 at the end of turn. So this doesn't work with the main Rex that gets ridden from bind zone because you don't want to, call it. You want to keep it in your bind zone until you can ride it. But there are some new cards that do kind of work off this a bit better. Nice that it gives it the plus 4k, but that's about it. Next we have Swordhorn Dragon Scathrex. Has the first skill, which is when it attacks a Vanguard, you can choose a rearguard with Rex and retire it. If you do, you draw a card and it gets plus 3k, so it's a 14k attacker. It's okay. Other skill is when you ride it or call it, you can choose a card from your hand and bind it face up. If you do, choose one of your other rearguards with Rex in its card name. That unit and this unit get plus 2k until end of turn. So you could use this to bind your Death Rex. I believe it's called Death Rex, the one that rides itself from bind zone. But it's also grade 3, so there's a lot of grade 3s that they're throwing at us, but there's a bit more of a need for grade 2s, I'd say, which takes us to our next card, which is Steel Bullet Dragon Barrage Rex. So, skill is, when this unit attacks a Vanguard, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Rex in its card name, you can choose one of your rearguards and retire it. We'll choose one of your other rearguards and retire it. If you do until the end of that battle, this unit gets plus 5k, and at the end of that battle, bind this unit face up. So it's nice that you just bind it face up and you can bring it back with a Stride and just bring it back with a lot of things, and then you can use its skill again. So pretty interesting card for Rex, probably one of the better ones as well. Next is Cataclysmic Bullet Dragon Wrapped Rex. Bind Zone skill, when your unit with Rex in its card name attacks the Vanguard, you can choose one of your rearguards and retire it. If you do, you call it from the bind zone to rearguard circle and it gets plus 2k until end of turn, so that makes it a 9k attacker or booster. Second skill is when you do call it, if you have a grade 2 or greater Vanguard with Rex in its card name, this unit gets another plus 2k until end of turn. So that should work off of the first skill as well. So pretty solid card overall, can become an 11k attacker as well, so overall quite nice. And what I believe is the last Rex card is a Rupture Dragon Mini Rex. When this unit is retired from rearguard circle for the effect or cost of your card with Rex in its name, you can Counterblast 2. If you do, you choose one of your rearguard circles, search your deck for up to 2 grade 1 or greater cards with Rex in their card names, call them to separate rearguard circles in the same column as the chosen rearguard circle, and shuffle your deck. And at the end of that turn, bind those units face up. Overall nice, because you can do this early game and search out that grade 3 Rex immediately, so this can lead to some nice combos. I understand why it's a Counterblast 2, but the wording is quite weird. It's like, choose a rearguard circle and then call 2 things to that rearguard circle of that column kind of thing. So yeah, also I love the design, just holding a grenade, just chilling there with a grenade. I love it so much. But yeah, so I think with that we are done with the Tachikaze support. And now we're getting on to another clan that didn't get many cards in this set, which is Royal Paladin. So, first card of which is Holy Dragon Luminous Hope Dragon. So I did advertise this card early in the Ultimate deck preview, so do check that out if you haven't. But let's go over his skill. Act once per turn, Persona Flip. For each face-up Holy Dragon Luminous Hope Dragon in your G-Zone until end of turn, this unit gets plus 10k, and all of your guys with the Brave ability get plus 1k. Second skill, when this unit attacks, on Brave, if you have 2 or more face-up cards with the Brave ability in your G-Zone, search your deck for up to 1 Grade 2 card, called to Graveyard Circle, then, if you have 3 or more face-up cards with the Brave ability in G-Zone, this unit gets plus 1 crit, shuffle your deck. So, it searches, it power buffs itself and your rears, and it gets a crit. Very solid stride, has so many things going for it, it's also very cheap from what I'm seeing so far, so definitely a good stride for the Brave deck, so I highly recommend picking this up, as it will enhance your deck fairly well. Next we have more of a budget stride, which is Holy Dragon Attract Rune Dragon, so it attracts Runecraft players. But his skill is an act once per turn Brave, counterblast 1, search your deck for up to 1 Grade 2 card with a Brave ability, call to Graveyard Circle, and shuffle your deck. Very simple design, but not sure how much it's going to be used because, like every other stride, does the searching for an even less of a cost, so yeah. Next we have Knight of Encouragement Hellborn. GB1 on Rearguard Circle, when your Grade 2 unit with the Brave ability is retired from Rearguard Circle or Guardian Circle, you can Soul Blast 1 and retire this unit. If you do, return that card to your hand. Kinda nice, you know, maybe you want to get back a Rearguard or Guardian to your hand that might have some on-call skill. So you can also return, I'm pretty sure you can also return your Perfect Guards, so that's something to consider. But yeah, so overall interesting card, not, you know, 6k power, so I'm not sure how much it's going to be used, but there are some interactions that could make this guy at least fairly okay. Next is Knight of the Crescent Moon Gratia. Has a Brave when your unit is placed on Rearguard Circle from your deck, this unit gets plus 5k until end of turn, not once per turn, so when you're doing that huge Brave Lancer turn, he can get boosted by quite a lot of power, but he's a grade 3, so I'm not sure how much that's going to be used. Second skill is the GB1 Brave. When this unit is placed on Rearguard Circle, this unit gets plus 3k until end of turn. That's about it. So a lot of power gain, but not much else to mention. Next up, we have Waterback Knight Lemise. I really like her art. Kind of reminds me of Azura from Fire Emblem Fates, but it's just really the posture, I guess. So art is pretty top tier. So skill is a Rearguard Circle continues GB1 Brave. This unit gets plus 2k, so 11k attacker on both turns. And when this unit is called, if the number of cards in your hand is 1 or less, this unit gets plus 4k until end of turn. So again, just power gain, but 1 or less is a pretty strict restriction. Next card that isn't, you know, restricted to Brave is Plascal, so this might go in your Garmor deck, maybe, probably not. But the skill is you put it into your soul, choose one of your units, and at the end of turn it gets boost. So it's the same as the Paprika that we saw for New Nectar, but again, just wanted to mention this one as well. And that's the end of the Royal Paladin support. And now we're finally coming on to the GR slots in the set, the first one of which didn't get that many cards, but first of all we do have another reprint. This is once again Aurigaizer Dragon reprinted. Still a very nice reprint to have. I finally picked my last 2 copies up. I had 2 copies in GBT04 and then I never or was it GBT03, sorry, and then I never picked up the ones from the Revival collection, and then now these are finally cheap, so I was like, okay, I'll take these. So I'm not gonna go over the skill because of the reprint. You know, usually people do know these things, so just wanted to mention that it's nice that it's reprinted again. I wonder how many more times it will be. It's kind of like the utopia of Vanguard at this stage. So, getting on to the first GR of the set that we talk about, and we're, you know, quite well into the time of this video, but it is going to be Drag Anger Ogma. So, I'm going to pop up both the GR and SGR arts for this card. The SGR looks really good, the text and just everything. The exclamation mark looks like a foot, that might be my only concern, but apart from that it's very, very cool. Let's go over his skill. Once per turn, act on Vanguard Circle, Ritual 5, so that's the first time we have Ritual 5. Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1, and flip a unit face up. You choose up to 5 of your Grade 1 rearguards, retire them. And for each rearguard retired by this effect, your opponent chooses a card from his or her hand or rearguards and puts it into the drop zone. If a total of 3 or more rearguards were put into the drop zone by both fighters with this effect, you draw a card. So this does make your opponent to put them into the drop zone. So even if they put them into from the rearguard circle, I believe it doesn't count as a retire. I think that's how this is worded for that, purpose. So, really cool card because it also interacts with the hand. This is a really cool interaction that, like, if they don't have rears, if they're playing, like, charge or, magia or whatever, they're gonna be putting cards from their hand into the drop zone for however many grade 1s you retired. So if you retired 5, then goodbye to 5 cards in their hand if they have an open field. So, really good GR, honestly, super good stride for Ritual, so definitely happy to see this, and it could be run in other things too, but the Ritual 5 is not going to be as easy to achieve, like as fast, because this isn't on, GB anything. You can use it as first stride if you want, but good luck having that big of a field to retire, but overall cool card. But there is a card in this set for Shadow Paladin that is more expensive than the GR, which is none other than Belial Owl. This card might just be the best critical trigger in the game for its own deck. This crit is so good, but let's talk about the skill. First off, Drop Zone GB1 Ritual 3. At the end of your turn, if you have a Vanguard with Luard in its card name, you may put this card on the bottom of your deck. That's pretty cool, a crit that goes back to your deck, pretty nice, goes to the bottom, but you can shuffle it, not a big deal, but next up is the kicker. When this unit is retired from rearguard circle for the effect or cost of your card, if your Vanguard's a Luard, or has Luard in its name, draw a card. You might not be shocked, like, why is this card $30? Hello? But that part of, just retire it, goodbye, draw a card. Retire 3, draw 3 cards, cool. It's like, wow, cool, you retire this, it's going to be in the drop zone. But, that's not a problem. At the end of the turn, it's going to go back to the deck anyway, and you can keep doing this every single turn. God, like, just call out all of them, retire all of them, draw extra 4 cards, and then put them back to the deck and do this again next turn. Like, what? God, this crit is so good. And if Luard players didn't have enough expensive as hell cards to pick up, then this one added itself to the list, and I'm sure we'll have even more in the future. So, sadly, this is where the very noteworthy cards for Ritual do end, but we do have some interesting ones to talk about from the rares and below. Next up is Dark Dragon, Animus Pile Dragon. Has Ritual 3, this unit gets plus 5k for each grade 1 card in your drop zone. Pretty cool, like, it's very simple, it's just plus 5 for each grade 1. So in late game it's like, hello, huge ass power. No crits, but definitely big power. Next is the Ritual Quintet Wall. So I really like his art, Evil Refuser Dragon. When this unit is placed on Guardian Circle from hand during the battle your Vanguard was attacked, you can make counterblast 1. If you do, call 5 cards on top of your deck to your Guardian Circle. So just the usual Quintet Wall stuff, but GB1 Ritual 3, this unit gets plus 10k shield. Nice, simple, understandable, cool. Next we have Knight of Scramble, Edern. Vanguard and Rearguard Circle, Ritual 3. When your other Rearguard is retired, this unit gets plus 2k until end of turn. So it does stack up, so do keep that in mind, but I'm not sure how much this will be used. Next is when you call it or retire it, you may retire one of your grade 1 Rearguards. If you do, you draw a card. A bit of cycling, but it is grade 1 Rearguards, so, kind of restricted. Next is Knight of Selection, Fergus. 8k power, so immediately, do notice that. When this unit is called, you may choose a grade 1 or less card from your hand and discard it. If you do, reveal 3 cards from the top of your deck, choose one of the cards with the lowest grade from among them, put it into your hand, and put the rest into your drop zone. So, nice that it puts them into the drop zone, does fuel Ritual, but that's about it. Next is Drag Wizard Medir. Act once per turn, Rearguard Circle GB1 Ritual 3. Counterblast 1, until end of turn, this unit gets plus 1k for each of your units with the Ritual ability, so this can stack up. Next skill is, at the beginning of your main phase, you may Soul Blast 1 and retire this unit. If you do, countercharge 1. Sad that it's not at the end of the turn, but at the beginning of your main phase, so, you have to keep it alive, essentially, because it is at the beginning of your main phase. You can't call it and then use it, so do keep that in mind. And the final card for Shadow Paladin is Fractious Knight Alden. So, Forerunner and Rearguard Circle once per turn, GB1 Ritual 3. When your other Rearguard is retired, this unit gets plus 5k until end of turn. If this wasn't once per turn, it could have actually been fairly okay, but because it is, it's sadly not. So just wanted to mention that kind of point on how it could be improved. So yeah. And that marks the end of the Shadow Paladin cards, leaving us with one more clan. At long last, it is once again time for the Nova Grappler support, which does seem to be once a year. This time around, you know, there's only 2 archetypes being supported, but I am very happy with both of them as I am a big fan of both. Before we get into the main cards, let's go over the reprints, which are very good as well. First one of which is Galaxy Blau Kluger. This card needed a reprint really bad. Until the reprint got announced, this card was really expensive, it was always up there in price. When Blau support got revealed, it was insanely expensive, but now it's dropped really steadily, and like, I love this card's design so much. It reminds me of a Valve Rave just because of the weapons, but it's just a super dope design. And yes, finally, you know, people will go like, oh wow, every single DP and Nova Grappler card is a Gundam, wow. You know, to correct that, it's just Blaus. Blaus are the only Gundams. The only thing that can be compared to that is the Victor stuff, but they're more like Gunpla than Gundams. So, you know, we do have this Galaxy Blau Kluger reprint, and we have Blau Dunkelheit as well, which is the Blau Perfect Guard. I really like this art of him. I do like the old one as well, but this one is better, but I didn't pick any up because I already had a playset. But this art is so cool. I like his little, you know, pistols. It's just overall cool, just dope ass design, really. So it's just a normal Perfect Guard, but does have Blau in its name, which is very important for the starter that Blaus use. So we'll be beginning with Victor and then getting onto the Blaus, and you know, then we'll kind of talk about the generic stuff in between, maybe, possibly. I'll see where I put them in. But let's begin with Victor and the other GR for this set, and a super good one, which is Favorite Champ Victor, or PogChamp as I like to call him. So here are both the SGR and GR artworks. I love this guy's SGR. I didn't pick one up, but look at that. It's like it has the infinity symbol, the burn with a little flame. Oh, it's so good. Just looks so awesome. So let's go over skill. Auto Vanguard Circle GB2. At the end of the battle this unit attacked, you may counterblast 2 and discard a card. If you do, choose up to the same number of rear guards as the number of face-up cards in your G-zone and stand them. If you stand 3 or more cards, choose 3 cards from your hand and you may discard them. If you discarded 3 cards, countercharge 1, stand this unit, and it gets drive -2 until end of turn. Now, this card is busted. It's so good. It's so good. It's insane. I did a deck preview on this guy. The build I used back then is, I have changed it considerably. I will be doing a deck profile on this guy fairly soon as I get my cards, basically, because I've played it quite a lot because this deck is just so fun. It's so fun to play. It has gotten more expensive thanks to this new stuff. It's not, Victor isn't the cheapest thing anymore, sadly, but this guy is so good. Essentially how it works is you just want to reach a considerable amount of cards in hand, like 9, because then you're going to drive check 3 cards from the first drive check, restand him, he still has 1 drive, and then each time you restand him, he has no drive checks, but he does restand your field, so you get attacks from your field, you get attacks from the Vanguard, you restand him like a good 4 or 5 times, so you get so many attacks. Like when you go into him, you have to win the game, and that's it. It's fine to play just 1, you can play 2, if you're like me, I just like playing 2 because, you know, whatever chance might come in, but you really will never go into the second one, it's just there for whatever reason. But God, this card is so good. It's so good, the art is so good, just everything about it is so good. I'll talk more about it in the deck profile, but you know, you can already get a little bit hyped. Next up we have Excessive Battler Victor. So this is the new Victor, and you can notice he has Exia blades. Like his weapons are the actual Exia swords. It's so cool. So first skill is a Rush! Vanguard and Rearguard Circle GB2. When this unit stands, due to the effect of your card, all of the units in your front row get +2k until end of turn. This isn't once per turn, so every time it stands, you do pump by 2k. It doesn't stack though, but you know, still nice that like it doesn't stack as in like the skill stacks, but like the power does stack. Just the skill doesn't like repeat itself like you do with some other cards like Naliaki. So do keep that in mind. But it's a very nice GB2, very solid. So it's good that it works on Rearguard Circle as well. That's where it's mostly going to be doing its magic in. So there's that. And then the second skill is when you stride on top of him, you can choose one of your Vanguards and give it the skill. Once per turn, when this unit attacks, you may Soul Blast 1. If you do, choose one of your other Rearguards with a Rush ability, and stand all of your Rearguards in the same column as that unit. Super good strike skill. It is restricted to rush units, but now we do have Butagil, or Sever Temper as it is in English, which is one of the promos that we'll be talking about it in the deck profile, that works with this guy super well. So you can even, you know, like, there's a lot of changes you can do to the deck building, but this guy is super good. So overall, you know, great new grade 3 for Victor. I really like it and I'm overall very happy with it. Next Victor restricted card is Extreme Battler Banget, or Banguet, but just Banget I guess. Rush, rearguard circle when this unit stands with the effect of your card. If your Vanguard's a Victor, until end of turn this unit gets a skill. When an attack hits a Vanguard during the battle, this unit boosted or attacked. You may put him into the soul. If you do, choose one of your other rearguards with the rush ability and stand it. On first impression, I really like this guy. I played him, I showed him in the deck preview, but now there's another card that we're going to talk about a bit later, which is better. But this guy's okay, but I wouldn't use him anymore after I realized that he's okay, but I wouldn't use him anymore, essentially. Next, we have a Quintet Wall Defending Goddess. +1 when you put this card from hand to the Guardian Circle. When your Vanguard was attacked, if you do, call 5 cards from the top of your deck to Guardian Circle, choose up to one of the Guardians with the Rush ability, well, choose one, not up to one, with the Rush ability and gets +10k shield until end of that battle. So nice that it gives extra shield, but it's a Quinta wall, so I don't know. Next up we have Spurt Centaur, Rush on Rearguard Circle GB1. When this unit stands with the effect of your card, you may Soul Blast 1 and bounce the card in the same column as this unit to your hand. If you do, this unit gets +5k until end of turn. So they kind of try to, like, you know, do the Sazanda thing where he gains 5k when he stands, but you have to bounce something in the same column, meaning you can only do it once. But it's nice because, you know, there are some things that you can bounce which will be kind of helpful, like an Arbor Rail or something. Like if you used your Arbor Rail last turn and then you call him, so he bounces back your Arbor Rail so you can use it again. So I guess it's kind of like, it works with that, but apart from that he works with some other cards in the set a bit better, but he is, you know, Rush, so that's why we mentioned him here. Next Rush card is Magical Spinner. When this unit stands due to the effect of your card until end of turn, this unit gets a skill. When this unit's attack hits the Vanguard, choose up to one of your opponent's rearguards with power less than or equal to this unit's power and retire it. You know, I like these cards that retire. I also like her art, but it's just nice. There's better cards that do this now, but still thought I would mention this. And now the best common, well, one of the best commons for Victor in my opinion from the set is Furious Puncher, especially for this first skill, which is Rush on Rearguard Circle GB1. When this unit stands with the effect of your card, choose one of your other units and it gets +5k until end of turn. It's nice that he doesn't get that +5k because, you know, it's gonna just add up to the power of whatever else, meaning you don't have to play Sazandas and you can just focus on the Sever Tempers. You know, if you want to, I would, you know, maybe just play one Sazanda, but really good card. You play 2 of him. Second skill isn't as good. It's a GB1, you can retire him. If you do, you choose one of your rearguards and stand it. It's in main phase, so like you're only going to be using this against like Mega Colony or something, so that's about it, but it's nice to have that answer, but that's about it for him. First skill is very nice though. And the final card that's Rush restricted is Extreme Battler Kachiwal. His skill is when he stands with the effect of your card, you can put this card on the bottom of your deck. If you do, you draw a card and choose one of your rearguards and stand it and shuffle your deck. Kind of cool, like you stand him, he goes back, you draw a card, and you stand something else regardless. So cool, I guess, but like I was more amazed with him when he was revealed, but now not so much, I guess. So yeah, he's good, but not super amazing or anything. Alright, now before we get into the Blau stuff, let's go over the generic stuff. First of all is Meteor Kaiser Junior, which is the new G-Guard. He has 2 skills. When you guard with him, if you do not have any face-up damage, you can countercharge 2 and he gets +5k shield until the end of that battle. Other skill is when you guard with him, if you don't have any cards in Soul, you Soul Charge 2 and he gets +5k shield until the end of that battle. First skill is better in stuff like Blau because they still burn through Counterblast really fast, so it's definitely good. Second skill is better in Victor because now Victor does burn through Soul a lot easier because of the new grade 3 Victor. So overall, very well rounded G-Guard. It's like super good because it's like, you don't have Counterblast, here it is. You don't have Soul, here it is. And you get shield on top. So good G-Guard, definitely happy with it. So nothing to complain about. Overall, just happy times. Next is Vertex Giant Moai the Supreme. When your drive check reveals a grade 3 card, choose one of your rearguards, stand it, and it gets +5k until end of turn. Some Ashura Kaiser stuff for you guys, Death Army Revival maybe, but interesting card. You know, I like these, you know, when you check a grade 3 do something cards, so definitely cool. Next is Bare Knuckle Arnest. First skill is an act, GB1, retire him, choose one of your rearguards and stand it. This goes together with this other skill. When this unit is cold, you can Soul Blast 1, rest him, and choose one of your other rearguards and rest it. If you do, you draw a card. So you call him, Soul Blast 1, rest him, and rest another one, and then you retire him to stand whatever you rested. So, not much of a advantage, I guess, but interesting, but I don't really like him too much. Next is Untitled Chapter. Simple, when you call him, you can Soul Blast 2, if you do, countercharge 2. Nova didn't have this yet, so, you know, we take those. Next is Petit Ace. He's a new starter. His first skill is a GP1 on rearguard circle act, counterblast 1 and rest him. Choose one of your rearguards and stand it, and that if that unit has the rush ability, increase its power by this unit's power until end of turn, retire this unit. I should have put this with the rush stuff, but I didn't realize it, so oops. And then his other skill is choose one of your other rearguards and rest it. This unit gets plus 3k until end of turn. So use the second skill, give him the power, and then use the first skill to convert that power to another unit, and then, you know, get rid of him to open up the slot for whatever else. Does eat up counterblast though, so it's a bit unfortunate, but there's that. Last card for generic is the reprint of Red Lightning. Slide him into the soul to countercharge 1. His new art is really cool. The old one was also cool, but this one is a bit nicer, 3D kind of nice thing. So good reprint, definitely worth reprinting, so very happy with that. And finally, to wrap up this video, let's go over the Blau support. So I'm very excited about this. I really do like the Blau deck because it's just literally Gundams, and it's nice because they're not trying to avoid that and they're not trying to bullshit away from it, so it's cool. Not too many cards, but let's go over them anyway. First off is the Stride, which is Sonne or Sonne Blaukluger or Blaukluger. So the sun is here. When he attacks, if your heart is a Blau, you can counterblast 1. If you do, you search for a grade 3 with Blau in its name, reveal it, put it in your hand, and shuffle your deck. And until the end of battle, this unit gets the Limit Break 5 skill. At the end of the battle, you can choose 3 cards from your hand and discard them. If you do, put this unit face up into your G-Zone, choose up to 1 grade 3 from your hand, and write it as stand. So, it's Limit Break 5. The Limit Break 5 remover does not remove it though, because he gets the Limit Break 5 in the middle of the battle phase, while the Limit Break 5 remover does it in the main phase, so they don't work. Just keep that in mind. I've seen so many people do that wrong. Please do not forget that. But he's good because on attack counterblast 1 to fetch a grade 3 is cool. It lets you play a smaller grade 3 count in my opinion. So I do like it for that. At least that's what I'm going to be trying with it. So I'll see if it works out or not, and then, you know, we'll see when the deck profile comes. This might not be a deck profile that comes out too soon because I want to test around with it a lot before I do anything, you know, official, basically. But it's nice because it fetches you grade 3, and then if you're on Limit Break 5, then, you know, you just have to kind of bite your cheeks and hope that you don't heal out of Limit Break 5, because, you know, but you're still doing a lot of cool pressure that way. If you're on 5, and even if you heal away, you're still doing pressure, so he's gonna be eating up the Perfect Guard, but still cool. And, you know, the whole second part is you use Break Ride into Galaxy Blau to have a really strong turn. So you either go into the old Mond or into another card that we're going to be looking at just now, which is Vollmond Blaukluger. First off, I'll say second skill. When the attack of a unit with Blau in its card name hits a Vanguard, you can Soul Blast a Blau. If you do, countercharge 1. Cool. The deck does lack countercharge. Not sure how this is going to work with the soul of the deck, but we'll see how that works. But I don't think you really use the soul for many other things in the deck, so it's okay. But the first skill is Limit Break 4 when you break right on top of it with a Blau. Counterblast 1, choose one of your Vanguards and give it plus 10k power, and the skill that when this unit attacks a Vanguard, if the number of standing rearguards you have is 3 or more, until the end of that battle, your opponent cannot call Sentinels from hand to Guardian Circle. It's okay. Counterblast 1 to give 10k is alright, and then this just works with Galaxy, because the old Break Right was super awkward with Galaxy, so this one is a bit more straightforward. I'm not sure about grade 3 lineups of Blaus. I'll try this with Galaxy because I like the direct kind of how they work together, but the problem is that the opponent can Perfect Guard the Sonne, and then, you know, this one restricts the Perfect Guard, but they can just G-Guard it away and drop some, you know, grade 0s, so just do the standard thing, and then, you know, if it does restand, then they can drop the Perfect Guard for the next one, but, you know, well, that is if you don't have the 3 or more standing rearguards, but it's okay. It's alright, but it's really well designed. I love the art. Like, I haven't talked about that yet, but I do love the art. But it's an alright Break Right. I'm gonna be trying it. I'll be trying it. If not, then I'll try it with the Mons. Some people just play with the 2 Break Rights, so it's also quite interesting. But I think what might end up being the best is gonna be just the Right Chain, because it puts you up to 13k, and then you kind of at least defend yourself against a lot of the rush. So we'll see. His second skill is a nice addition, but we'll see how this fares. It hasn't done much in Japan, so we'll see if it does anything in the West. Next is a cool grade 2, which is Uranus Blaukluger, and you know, have all your jokes if you want. His art isn't that great, I'm not digging the color, but I think if it was a different color it would be a bit better, but I understand. Skill is, however, when your unit with Blau in its card name is placed on Vanguard circle by riding or striding from a grade 3 unit, until end of turn this unit gets plus 5k, and once per turn when your Vanguard's unit attack hits a Vanguard, you can count +1 if you do stand this unit. Once per turn, but overall solid card. Essentially, you either stride or you cross ride to trigger his skill, so the deck, or you break ride, that also works, but you know, it does ask you to keep repeating, putting things on the grade 3, so do keep that in mind, which is why I say that the deck does kind of want you to play the cross ride as well, so we'll see. Like, there's a lot of ways you can take this deck now, but these new cards do kind of give you this chance. Next card is Saturn Blaukluger. The coloring is kind of like a Cubele, so kind of interesting, but the skill isn't that great. When your drive check reveals a grade 3 Blau, you may choose a card from your hand and discard it. If you do, choose one of your Vanguards, that unit and this unit get plus 5k until end of turn. Not worth the discard, in my opinion, because you want to discard for your other costs. So, like, I don't know, it's definitely not that good. The art is pretty dope though. Next is Venus Blaukluger, and this one is better. Once per turn, GB1, when your other rearguard stands due to the effect of your Vanguard with Blau in its card name, stand this unit and it gets plus 3k until end of turn. Cool card. I do like this guy because he works together with Mars, so it just restands a column, and you know, swings for a good number as well. I'll see if I can play, like it's gonna be either this guy or Clay Dolls, but it all depends on how much Counterblast the updated deck burns through, so we'll see. And the final Blau card and the last card of this set breakdown is Neptune Blaukluger. This guy's art and this guy's skill are both amazing. First skill is in hand. If you have a grade 3 card with Blau in its card name in your soul while you're paying the cost for stride, this card gets grade +2. So it is a stride fodder exclusive to Blau's, but you have to have one in the soul. So you would have either already cross-rided or break-ridden. So this is why I say it favors the cross-ride a bit more, because like you don't want to be going break-ride from into, like, you want to use this before you break-ride, but you might not want to, like, it's just a bit more realistic to use with a cross ride is what I'm thinking. But his second skill is when you do discard it from hand for the cost of stride, if you have a grade 3 with Blau in its card name in your soul, you may call it to rearguard circle. Cool. You discard it for stride and then you call it to the field. Super cool card. I really like him, but I'll see just how helpful he is. I might still want to play some of the old stride fodders just because I want to keep a low grade 3 count, but then if I want to use a standard grade 3 count, then it might be worth. So we'll see, but like you don't use him as a stride fodder for the first stride essentially, unless you're doing a cross stride or if you're immediately break riding, which I'm not too sure if you would be doing. So we'll see, but overall solid card on paper. We'll see how solid it is in action. So that wraps up the part for Nova Grappler and for the whole set as well. So pretty long set breakdown this time, but there were so many clans to talk about, and you know, I don't want to skim over everything, so we did have to do that. But I hope you guys did enjoy this set breakdown as much as I did. There were quite a few things to talk about. I am quite hyped about the Nova stuff and also the Shadow Paladin stuff as well. Basically everything got at least a couple good cards, and you know, pretty much every clan did. Not every archetype did, but you know, what can you do? It is Vanguard after all. So I hope you guys did enjoy this video, and if you have any discussion points or questions or anything, do leave them in the comments, and that's gonna be pretty much it for me. So I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.